Thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Soul Purpose Farms. Today, we got, again, Marquez, and we got Kelly, also known as Vic. So let's pop it off, man. How y'all week been?
And everything went good for me this week. How about with y'all?
It was good. I feel like I wasn't as productive with school work, but it was a good week.
Yeah, I
had a real good week. I went to an event, Washington County. It was hosted by the Georgia Grasslands and Foraging Council. They had like workshops and different foraging events out on cattle farms. So we toured different farms, and it was cool. And the coolest part about it was that's where my mom from. So I got a chance to see a lot of family and stuff I ain't seen in a long time and be down, where my roots at.
Okay.
That was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
well,
cool.
What type of event what type of event is that? That was like a summer tour or something?
Yeah, it was a summer tour. It was a Grasslands and Foraging Council summer tour. So we toured like 3 different farms, and they pretty much talked about their like grass growing techniques and foraging techniques for their cattle.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was dope.
I ain't doing nothing that exciting. I ain't do nothing that excited. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't been out in the field in a minute, as far as like being on an actual farm site in a minute. I've been spending most of my time in front of a computer screen, doing meetings and taking notes, doing work. So, but I had a good week though too. I was able to talk to a lot of different people who can help me with my research. But that's about it with me. What about you, Vic?
I ain't had too much going on.
Oh no, matter of fact, this is what I want to touch on. I ain't gonna go into the. But as far as
what
we talked about earlier this week, being able to pivot in the when conducting research, or think you got one topic, then you realize, okay, I really can do this topic. Cause that was the meat of the week when me and you was talking in a couple of days about pivoting from what you thought may have been your idea.
Well, that's why I was saying it wasn't productive.
Okay,
like
yeah. Okay, then let's talk about that then. So you don't got to go into depth.
What is going on with the Wi-Fi? No, I can. I'm trying to figure out what's wrong with the Wi-Fi. Is it glitching on your side?
No, I'm good.
Mine's straight. Yours the only one that's glitching, Vic.
Oh, it's glitching. I don't know. Okay, anyway. Okay.
You always gonna switch up with that research though.
But it's frustrating. It's frustrating as hell because you start a process, you start writing, then you gotta go back to the drawing board. And then that don't work. You find out it's not enough literature out there. It's not enough work that was done on it. So you got to go back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And for me, like when I get overwhelmed, I just don't want to do nothing. Like, I don't want to do nothing. I shut all the way down. Like, I don't touch nothing when I eat. And it's funny because Jasmine was talking about this with me today. And she was like, well, did you create a skeleton? Did you map stuff out? I was like, I didn't even do that. I just get so overwhelmed. So as far as the potential dissertation research, she was like, Vic, you talk about this all the time. Like, you always talk about it. And then she, kind of led me into the conversation me and her were having before. And she was like, you just brought up expectations and, developing the program and what recruitment and retention looks like. With getting students into Carver and what that relationship looks like as far as Virginia Tech pipeline and HBCUs and stuff. I was like, oh, see, you know what I'm saying? That's what you got people for. But it's overwhelming. It's too much because there's so much different research you can go into. But that's another topic.
Oh yeah, that's a whole nother topic.
No. So, this what we need to go to. You hit on the part of the conversation was gonna be today, supporting what you got going on.
Mm-hmm.
That was one end saying, okay, cool. I had to pivot from what I thought my research topic might be, but do I got the support along the way to say, okay, it's okay to pivot, and that to recognize you've been doing this all along. If that makes sense. Like the support,
Right.
how you was able to call up one of your friends and say, girl, look here, you've been talking about this all along. Think about it, been around you all the time. Focus in on this. It's
Right.
okay. Things happen. And it's not like you did no work that you can't never just scrapped. But if it was
Right.
scrap, you can say, okay, cool. I know what not to do next time. But you had good
Right.
support
I
though.
mean, that is true, but you don't be thinking about that in the process.
no,
That, I mean, that's valid though.
It's funny
I don't
you
think
say
about
that.
that in the process.
Oh no.
Yeah, because I'm like, I feel crazy, like not crazy, but I feel like, damn, like why this didn't click before on hard deadline. You know what I'm saying? Like it's been a whole process with just that piece of my research. Not a
So
lot.
real,
Oh, go ahead.
not to cut you off, Vic, but real quick, just explain to like, you know, the viewers that might not know about academia and about what goes on with research, what research is, and like in an agricultural setting, why do you do research?
So for me, right, again, going into my second year as a PhD student in the Ag Leadership and Community Education Department at Virginia Tech. And honestly, my intro to research is when I got here, right? You know, we go back to our conversation about South Carolina State. I don't take nothing away from State, but I didn't do research at State. Aaron can talk a little differently, you know, and Quez can too, because they've done research at South Carolina State, but being a business student, we didn't do much research. And so the little research that I did partake in came from extension, and it was under youth development. So going into my PhD program, I'm now having to develop research that is going to grant me my degree. You know, as a PhD student, eventually we'll have to defend this stuff and sit in front of a committee of people and to talk to these people and convince them that this research is legit, is, you know, reliable, and that we've done the work to receive our PhD. So in that process, and Aaron, you can hop in too, but in that process, you have so many different ideas. I know I have a ton of ideas. I have ideas ranging from youth development, youth getting into agriculture, and that's a whole channel within itself. I have interest in just being in the field. So farm management, what does that look like as a minority? Family, you know, family estates, what does that look like? So it's you know, being in academia, recruitment and retention. So there's so many different ways that you can develop your research. But then it's a whole nother playing field of how do you develop that? What work has been done? And because why are you laughing? Aaron over there laughing.
I'm just looking at it. I'm like, man, I'm tapped in and I understand exactly what you're saying. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Me too.
But it's
looking
like,
one of all them publishers and stuff, boy, that's hell.
Exactly. It's so much different. And I think too, going back to that passion and purpose, because we have such interest in so many passions related to the field and the industry. It's so many different ways we can go, but you can't save the world with your dissertation. That's something that I had to understand. I can't change the world with it, you know, within that 5 year, you know, we're gonna say 5 year because that's what most programs look like, but you know, within that 3 to 5 year time span, you can't change the world how you want to. So it's understanding that, get in there, prove that you can do this work, and get out, and then start making the changes that you want to make in the areas and communities that you want to make change in. So thinking of all those components, I'm not going to keep going on about it, but thinking of all those different components and those different ideas, you got to figure out, how do I map this out? How do I talk the language? And how do I get people on my team that's going to be able to coach me in these different areas so that I can build up this project and be able to put it out there in order for me to go ahead and say, for them to say, okay, you've received your license to be a principal investigator. Because that's all what a PhD is.
So heavy.
And so for me, I'm at the beginning of that process, and it's been a process, but I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, I think
That's what's up, man. But I enjoy my process as well. I think one of the biggest takeaways I just took from what you just said and doing research, conducting research, was learning that language. I feel like my first time around doing research, I was thinking, man, like this so like science based. I don't know what in the world, you know what I'm saying? I don't, I can't even pronounce half of this stuff. I don't know what I'm looking at. And then, you notice once you start to get the flow, once you start to look at different publications, do your research, do your reading and everything like that, and you really get your research going, then it kind of makes sense. And a lot of stuff falls into place, like, with speaking that language and understanding that language. Because that's the biggest part of it, understanding that language and knowing like how to, convey and portray certain, certain pictures, and, having people understand it along with you, and, being able to cross over with the language, having people that's not from that background understand it, as well as the people that are from that background understand exactly what you're saying and what you're trying to get across.
I think
I'll say, oh, go ahead.
no, with me, like me and Vic, we are so similar in a way as far as like how we approach certain things. But Vic not gonna play with your ass. like Westbrook back in the day. Well, he's still in his prime to me, but prime Westbrook, Vic gonna pound that goddamn ball down your damn throat. Me, I'm gonna take that ball and I'm gonna make you play at the speed that I want to play it. So I say that with me, I break everything down to its simplest form. I love the KISS model. Keep it simple, stupid. So I promise you, I always keep it simple. Like sometimes I just play dumb, just okay, what does it really mean? What does this really mean in the simplest form? Then make my own analogies, then execute to the extreme. I might be on something like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, then I might hit Vic like 9, 10 o'clock at night. Hey Vic, I got the plan. I know how I'm gonna attack this. Because with me, I love to write things down, but I don't always do it when need be. So that's probably been one of my biggest barriers within research, but I recognize I cannot do research how I did previously at this same stage. I got to really be really OCD when you talk about being organized about how to execute and when setting good, hard deadlines for yourself. If I'm gonna get something done by July 1st, it needs to be done by July 1st. Really, June 30th. And setting time and being able to say, okay, cool. Where do I need to go back and make certain adjustments and be able to look back and say, okay, cool. I messed up right here. I messed up right here. I know where my pitfalls might be because I say, okay, cool. This week I might just be writing and reading, or I might be just reading 2 papers a week about this certain topic. Did I make sure I highlight all the citations and put into my Excel spreadsheet? Things like that. And I recognize it, like I was talking about earlier, as far like when I was at South Carolina State, I did research, but I was not as organized as I am now. And I'm still not as organized where I should be.
Right.
To my standards, because for me to be that top tier researcher where people can say, okay, his name holds weight, such as you all sales on here too, I see that the top people that I idolize or that I want to model my research game after, even though you're gonna have your own style, is they are very organized people. And they're able to pivot and understand, okay, cool, it's not gonna be perfect the first time, because that was the hardest thing I had to break. Because I'm used to just maybe writing a paper, maybe doing a little bit of editing, or just turning in, never getting no real feedback. I'm not used to somebody saying on my paper. I want to use that. I want to use that. I want you just turning something in. Oh, you got a good grade because you turned it in.
Right.
I said last week, it's a hall of game. It's a hall of fame.
Right.
Hall of fame is hall of game.
Right. But I think too, like, yeah, you're not at that stage where you, and Quiz, I got a question for you too, but yeah, you're not at that stage right now, but you can clearly see there's a clear distinction between your old structure habits, or why am I having a mind blank? Organizational skills to now, right?
Yeah.
Because I think, you know what I'm saying, something that we have to realize, and like I said, in the moment you don't understand that, but like at every stage it's gonna have a different requirement. Back
Yeah.
then, the requirement, because I know for me, back then the requirement, I ain't need to write stuff down. That's I just didn't, my mind didn't work like that. You know, I didn't have to do that to get the grades. I didn't have to do none of that, write stuff down. And so now, and I'm at a point where I do write stuff, but that also played into me being in the field and working for a couple of years, you know, for some years to understand that piece too. But still, like, I didn't write stuff down. Now I write stuff down. You know, I have to. Or, you know, I have issues where I double book, which I'm still working on that. And I shouldn't do stuff like that because I should be more organized. But you know what I'm saying? That's just at different, when you get to them different levels and them different stages, it requires a different level of discipline, whatever that looks like. You know, so I think understanding that as people too, and being understanding of yourself to know that it's not gonna always gonna be perfect. Like, it's not gonna always be perfect. But Quiz, I wanted to ask you, because you finishing up your undergrad program, but you conduct research. So what was that like not knowing nothing about research to being an undergrad program? Even though you're a non-traditional student, you have a little bit more knowledge base based on your experience in the field. But what was that like coming into research, and especially
at State? For me, it was a lot different because I didn't go into research. Well, number one, we in different sides of ag, whereas, you know, I'm more of a science-based and y'all more business-based. A lot of the research that I conduct, I had to write stuff down. Like, you can't go in that science lab and not be writing stuff down. Like, you got to do a lot of equations, you got to do a lot of numbers, figuring stuff out, you know. Like I said, it was a lot of stuff I couldn't even pronounce from the get-go. Like, I had to do a lot of, you know, Googling and trying to figure out, like, what does this mean? Or what does this mean? So, like, learning language, I learned real fast. But I feel like that was only because the funding that I had for my research was outside of State. So just a little background about my research. So I did my first research project was on anti-advanced glycation end products. And basically it's when sugars and proteins bind in your body and they cause different mucus pots in your body, whatever. We were trying to figure out what herbs and what medicinal vegetables could actually stop those ages within your body or cure the ages. And the research was funded by the NSF and the NIH, but most of the research that I did was with MUSC, which is the Medical University of South Carolina State. Most of the research was done at MUSC, and most of it was done for NSF. So I really didn't have a lot to do with State during that time. And that kind of gave me edge because I had to be on my P's and Q's dealing with different people. So most of the research that I was doing, yeah, it relates to ag, but it was more biomedical based. So it was like I was kind of fed to the wolves. Like, it was like, okay, well, you don't know language, you need to learn what this is. You need to learn what this. You need to get this. You need to do your research before you start research. Like, I didn't know nothing about that. But then, you know, I started doing my own research and just peeping game and seeing like how they were doing different things. And I was like, okay, well, I got to get on the ball. And I was just on my own ass with making sure I knew what certain stuff was, how to apply certain stuff to what I had going on, even though we didn't have the same resources and the same outlets that they had at MUSC at State. I was still able to work that move and get around a community of people at MUSC that was like, oh, okay, well, you might not necessarily understand this, but if you come up under here, you'll understand it, you know, before you get going. And then they kind of prepped me more for what was to come, because as soon as I was finished with research, it wasn't just like, okay, we'll write a little paper and that's going to be okay. It was like they put me right out there like, okay, we need a 5-page paper. We need a poster board presentation. We need a 10-slide PowerPoint presentation. And then you got to go out here to this biomedical conference and you got to present this. And, you know, so I was able to see what other people had going on and, you know, put my research up against what, you know, other people was doing and actually seeing like, okay, man, it's some real stuff going on out here. Like, you know, it was kind of overwhelming at first, but then once I got the hang of it, it was like, oh, okay, well, this is what really needs to be going on. And it was kind of like a gift and a curse, because once I seen what was going on the other side, going back to State, it was like, man, what we doing? You know what I'm saying? Not, no slight the State, but it was just like, It was just like, what we doing? So with it being more science-based, I learned a lot real fast, and I had to pick up on a lot real fast. So as far as like my research experience at State, it was very thorough. It wasn't like, you know, what I had experienced at State before, because of who was funded by and who it was in partnership with.
Yeah, so that goes to like far as what we want to talk on for the episode as far as support. Do you feel like you supported financially, emotionally, internally, as far as like within the school, by the faculty and staff, as well as your family? Like, was you supported internally and externally as far as your whole experience throughout your college journey? Both of you are.
I feel like I was supported academically, but not necessarily from our university. It was more so from other people from other universities that were in my same cohort that had different research going on. So it was like, because they had research going on, they could understand what I had going on, and they could give me advice on, you know, what the next steps were, what to look for, what to be aware of. Now with my family, it was a totally different situation. You know, I come from an area like y'all, so like most of my family, you know, has not been to college. So like I'm a true, like, you know, first generational, you know what I'm saying, college student, first graduate type deal. So like it was kind of like beating a dead horse. Like I would try to explain certain stuff that I had going on with my research with family, but they ain't really understand it or get what I was saying. And then, you know, just trying to talk to them on a level that they can understand what I was saying and it not be too much. Like, for instance, one of the things that I found out in my research was that pork bacon had the highest amount of ages out of the meat that we eat. And we naturally accrue ages in our body. So when we eat bacon, we're adding on to the ages that are in our body, which attribute to like hypertension, diabetes, cancer, infertility, and a lot of different things that we have problems with. So it's like, when you look at it like that, and then you go to telling people like, man,
let bacon go. I'm not letting bacon go.
Man, it's hard for me to let that bacon go too, but it's not good. You know what I'm saying? It's not good for us. And telling my people, like, you know what I'm saying, like, yeah, bacon ain't good for you. You killing, man. I'm not trying to hear that. I don't care what you talk about. Like, so, like, on that end, it wasn't really doing it. It was one of the things like how we talk about Aaron. Like, it's one of the things like you got to put it in their face before they're trying to hear it. We just come from that type of community. Like, they ain't really trying
everything in moderation, man. Everything. Yeah. So sometimes I do, you know, like I might go on my little spree or whatnot, you know what I'm saying? All praise first and foremost. I might go in my praises and say, hey, I'm a abstain from eating the pork, putting in the pork.
Watch them words when speaking to the people. You playing around with them folks like that.
Boy, they thought I was on some voodoo shit. I said, man, they're like, boy, what you doing over there? Boy, you in there mixing stuff up, and then you talking about bacon ain't good. Like, what they doing to you out there, boy?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I know for me, like, I'm never home. Everybody know I'm never home. And it's not why you made that why you made that face?
We never would know where you might be, Waldo.
Well, that ain't nobody's business. The point is, I'm never home. And so I've always had even back in undergrad, you know what I'm saying, in the summer times, well, like this, yes, especially when I really got into ag business, I was never in this, you know, I was at an internship. I was working on campus in the summertime with Cypress Ag Discovery. And then when I got to my master's program, same thing. I was never home. But when I moved to Alaska, like, the people went crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, my family totally did not understand why I was doing what I was doing. And then even after 2018 is when the PhD journey started. And when I didn't get into no program,
hold on.
I was like, I gotta stick this Alaska shit.
Hold on, let's not skip over that part. I think that's the major part of the whole story. 2018, what 2018 did and how it really opened our eyes
Oh, it did. 2018 was transformative.
Oh,
Well, it was the start. It was the start of the transformation.
Okay, yeah, we can speak.
We'll say that.
We can speak on that a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. But okay, so we'll take it back to manners.
Okay, shout out to Manners.
Right, shout out to manners. So
Know what manners is. They might not know what manners is.
manners is a is minority to agricultural, natural resource related sciences.
Okay.
It's a what?
I was saying, it
It's a student led organization. Depending on who you- what
was just moving so
what
slow.
you say?
It was just moving
Oh,
slow.
oh, it's moving slow now.
Nah, I heard you. It.
You good?
Oh, okay. But yeah, it's a student-led organization, depending on what university you at. But it's a platform. It's an organization that really get minority students, and youth into ag and related fields, and related sciences fields. So yeah, so in our master's program, our manners program, we didn't go to manners that year. So, but we had one like chapter of the year or something. So we won a free room. Boom. So Dr. Mathis, our advisor,
Shout
we
out to
told
Doc.
yeah, we'll go down. It was on some real humbug stuff, like last minute, like Aaron called, like Vic, you know what I'm saying? We gonna whoop, whoop, we gonna go down, whoop, whoop, pack up the car. So we done packed up the car. We done drove down in the Hyundai. So then, all the way, we done drove to Greensboro. Get there, checked in. Probably it was not the best manners conference I've been to, but what it grew, what grew from that really made it one of the most memorable, because we went there and it honestly, I know for me, it felt like we weren't even really part of the conference. Like it was on some stuff like we were the only two from South Carolina State, and then somebody else. We really can't even count him because he was there for a hot second and slid. But yeah, so end up making some connections, and we didn't present research. We didn't do none of that. Like we were there, but we weren't there. We were there with a different agenda.
Yeah, we did handle
And
business.
so,
I said we were there handling business straight up.
We were. And then that trip really put things into perspective for both of us. And then last night there, we met some young ladies that were literally right next door to us from Virginia Tech. And after that trip, things clicked. So in the fall, what was that? Late fall, we started applying.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. Like late fall. By that time I had gone to Alaska, and we had started applying, like, okay, we're gonna apply. And now I had only done like 4 schools. I don't remember how many schools he had done, but I had done like 4 schools. Boom. Yeah, you probably did 6 or something like that. But anyway, didn't get into nobody's school. And so the feedback that I had gotten from every school was, you got a great portfolio, but you need more work. You need more work. So I was like, it was rough out there in the village. It was rough. Because for like 3 months, I stayed with my supervisor, and she had a family of 5, and we lived in the village. And so you can imagine what that dynamic was. It wasn't bad, but
yeah,
different.
Going into this situation, I stayed with them for 3 months, paid rent, and it was a house full of teenagers. And so yeah, it was different. So I said, boom, I'm gonna stick it out for a couple more years. I'm gonna stick it out. So I end up doing 4 years and got into my program. But going back to family being understanding of what our dreams, goals, and aspirations look like, they don't always understand it. And my family absolutely didn't understand it. Like, one, why are you going all the way out there? Ain't nothing out there. Ain't nobody coming to visit you. Straight up, ain't nobody coming to visit you. And then nobody ever came to visit, which was fine. But also knew the whole entire time that I lived out there what the goal was. As soon as my whole intention of being out there, of doing the work that I did, moving up to assistant director, because I went as a court, I was making 25,000, and a gallon of milk up there is $15. So you do the math on what that looks like. But I was able to work my way up, because I knew I got to get back to this program, and I need these folks to see that I'm putting in the work in the areas that need to be put in, work, where the work need to be put in at. So my family did not understand it. Me and my mama fought back and forth like for a minute, and then she was able to kind of understand, but she still quite don't understand it. That's a whole nother topic, but it's just for me, and I try to tell people this too, it's okay if your family don't fully understand what it is that you're trying to accomplish. It's
everybody ain't gonna get it.
Right.
Prime example, we didn't understand what Jesus was doing. We knew he was the Messiah, but did we know?
You're right.
Step back in, Vic.
True. What me and Kristen found out, like, you know what I'm saying? When I just up it like, yeah, man, we moved to South Carolina. Man, y'all just got married long ago. Why y'all moving away from the city? Like, you know what I'm saying? Both of y'all families here, this, that. Like, that don't make sense. You know what I'm saying? It was a lot of people that was totally against us moving.
Right.
I think with me. So, oh, I ain't mean to cut you off, Bill. I was just saying, I was just saying with me, like, even when you were saying, like, far like that first time we was applying to Left Manor, had great conversation with some great individuals about what a PhD really was, because we haven't seen anybody in front of us achieve or want to attain a PhD. It looked a whole lot different coming from where we came from, as far as the university setting. Then, as far as applying to schools, I still didn't even look at true ag schools or what it could possibly mean. I was just applying to be applying, and hopefully, and I had a very wide view of what I wanted to study. I didn't hone in until I failed. Because I remember calling Vic one day, I was like, Vic, I got an interview from the school, I can mention their name. We got an interview set up, it was over the phone, and it was asking me certain questions, and I was going about the interview process as if it was like an interview for a job, which is essentially is, but it's not. It's totally different when you interviewing for these different programs. I think while I was on the phone having a conversation, they was typing up my denial letter at the same time.
We talked about that, Aaron.
I promise you, I said, dang, I'm okay. Hey, thank you, great interview. I hope to hear from y'all soon. I heard from them though. No, we'll keep on looking. Yeah. I said, wow, and I kept on like Vic saying, like with me, I was getting denied. But then I had opportunity to be accepted at 2 different universities, 2 Black colleges. And the main thing, besides other issues, was the lack of resources. So that can go into as well, because 2 great schools, in my opinion, but they did not have anything in place to support students at that level as far as a terminal degree. Neither one of them would offer me any money. For real. One school wanted to offer me like $3,500. And I'll be coming as an out-of-state student. The other school just straight up told me, look here, we'd love to have you, but we have no money. You had to take out all loans. So it was kind of like a bummer. I had to go back to the drawing board, like, Vic, what we gonna do? I said, this is what I need to do for myself in the situation I'm in right now. So I'm gonna go back to the drawing board. I'm gonna go get another degree. And we're gonna do this all the way back from square one and build it up. And we had some bumps in the road, but we ended up in the school where we feel that we always talk now, like where we can really truly grow and obtain the resources where we can be the person who was called to be. Because the same school who was having with the individuals at that conference years ago, the same school Vic is at now. With me, I didn't go to that institution, but I'm at another institution who supports me as well. And be able to realize that me and Vic, and as well as Quiz, we pioneers as far as the agriculture space, coming from a school who did not have established college ag, had ag majors, but not an established college of ag at the time, we really embarking on a great journey. And I always look at it from that stance, like, okay, cool. Once I realized that life is about taking it all in, and sometimes I still have my humanistic ways and do things, because Quez can tell you a couple weeks ago, I was pissed about a parking ticket. When there was one idea, like, boy, come from
Thinking like where we come from. We all
okay,
thinking like,
if you ever got a parking ticket at a black college, you know what I'm talking about. When you get that ticket, you're like, man, what the world? And you know you got to pay it at the end of the day. 9 times out of 10, you might get a little grace, you know what I'm saying? But 9 times out of 10, you're going to pay that ticket.
they gonna give you hell.
So I got so upset, and I was like, man, look, I'm about to go in here and let these folks have it, Quez. Walked in there, you know what the man said, hey, don't worry about it, dude. I'll take care of it. I was like, and then I stepped back outside of myself. I walked out the office. I said, Quez, wipe that coonery off my shoulder.
Wipe it off for me.
I said, I'm wiping it off with you too. You know what I'm saying? Even though you ain't going through this.
I don't what. I the first one to say it. I'm like, boy, because if we was over there, it would have been this and that and this and that.
Yeah. You know, but just realize, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you really tuned in with the man who provided all and recognize that you can and you cannot do anything without him, and that all this would not be possible, and take that stance first and give all praises to the one who provide everything, life will be, it still will be what it is, but it'll be a lot much easier, because like my boy Cat Williams say, I need backup, and he will be there for you.
Right. I think too, and piggybacking off of that, having that relationship, whatever that looks like for you, whatever whatever spirit looks like for you, having that, and going back to what we were talking about, just support in general. Even when you don't got the support of your parents, your mama, your daddy, sister, brother, cousins, you got him.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it get to the moments where you got to lean on him. I've been in that, position where I got to lean on him, because at this point I can't have no conversation with this person because they just not gonna understand where I'm coming from. You know what I'm saying? Like, Aaron is truly, you know what I'm saying, the only person that I can go to that I could have these type of conversations with, because he understands where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? From the ag side, and just navigating all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, and also just an interest. So when things get rough, whoever you believe in, you got to lean on them, even if your folks just don't understand it, even if you feel like you can't lean on them. You got to lean on that. You got to lean on that foundation, because that's the only way you're gonna get through.
That, Vic, if you really locked into that, you'll notice he sent certain people in your life to, you know what I'm saying, provide and step in where that might be lack. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know since I done got to Orangeburg, just as many weird and different people I done met plenty genuine people that, you know what I'm saying, genuinely have my best interests at heart, my family best interests at heart. Can call them and, you know what I'm saying, know that they're going to be there for whatever I might need, you know what I'm saying? And same with you, Vic and Aaron, like God, who, like you said, whoever you might believe in, you know what I'm saying, you can get a community that'll support what you got going on and be there for you when you need it, if you really locked in with that, you know what I mean? Whatever that entity might be.
Right.
Even when I think about the word farms, or what a farm is a community of people who support each other, whether it be through goods, services, or products. So that's what farms is to me, and what a farm is in general. Because if you look back, especially in the minority or Black culture, you will see, man, them people support it. Like, hey, I raise livestock, you do produce, let's swap it out. Let's swap it out. That's our currency. I can't give you physical currency, but hey, I can give you some of these goods. You look out for me, I look out for you. That's what real support is. And what me and Vic doing, and yourself as well, Cole, we support each other along this journey throughout this field where hardly nobody looks like us. Because, not to say we were bamboo, because, you know what I'm saying, we were used to being in a community. Like, we all went to all Black schools pretty much our whole entire life, all the way throughout college. So we never really seen how the world really looks when we stepped outside of that. We was in our own little comfort zone, but when we stepped outside of that, we saw people who looked totally different than how we look. talk totally different, dress totally different, listen to different types of music. But we realize we are who we are for a reason, and we are who we are at the core because we are a part of something that's greater than us.
Right.
That's
right.
how I look. That's how I look at it, as well as being a part of this. Is amazing because I remember sitting in the room. We was having like a personal development workshop for manners, like a manners event, might be a manners conference, or something was coming up. We were sitting down having a personal development meeting, and these two individuals stood up and they were talking about when you go on to the journey into the workforce, or if you want to go into the graduate school journey, you gonna need an accountability partner or partners.
Yeah, you need a team.
Look here, if that were the most valuable thing, because to be able to call somebody or text somebody and say, hey, look here, hey, I'm going through this. I'm stuck right here. I've been doing everything in my research. I'm not getting it. I'm not feeling where I need to be at. And then for them just to say, hey, look at it like this, or it's gonna be all right, man. That can mean the world to somebody, especially somebody like me, hearing that say, hey, look here, how can I be there for you as a friend? Or hey, Aaron, you need to tighten up. Do what you need to do. You need to do this way, or think about it from this other point of view. And after that, it builds you to a whole nother level. Because I ain't gonna lie, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for people like you all. Because you all have held me accountable and supported me throughout everything, the ups and the downs.
Yeah.
And the future that's near to come. Because building this, what we're building right now, I want to say, want to help people who have not been to these places and that may have can relate to some of these similar stories, because we all three come from the same place, but we all three different people with three unique stories.
Right.
Yeah.
So I can always say, like, I always felt supported in a way that I always knew that I knew somebody had my back because of people like you all.
Yeah, I think too is that, because I know at one point in time I would get kind of irritated because people don't understand the context or the context in which I work in. And so people like, oh, you want to be a farmer? Even friends, friends would ask me that. I'm like, no, like I'm explaining to you what it is I want to do, but I think it also provides opportunity for, for that learning curve and to educate our friends and family as well. Because now, what I'm saying, like my uncle, so my uncle's pretty much manage and man the heavy load of the farm right now. And so myself and another cousin of mine, they've kind of appointed us as the leaders to kind of lead us into this next 5-year plan. What is this going to look like? How are we really going to build this thing out? And before, the siblings, my mom, her siblings, they really kept everything within their circle. And I always looked at it like, dang, like, I don't think they truly understand what it is that this could really be. But now that I'm older, I have much more of a voice. They actually bring me in, and it's like, okay, get it up. Let's get it planned out. What's the plan? So understanding too, like there is support and there is opportunity for a learning curve, because too, we're a different generation than our parents, and there wasn't really opportunity to have autonomy to say, this is what I want to go into and this is how I'm gonna do it. It was straight up, go find you a job and, take care of the house, make sure food on the table, clothes on everybody back, and that's it. It was no autonomy of discovering what your passions and purposes were. But that was just during that time. Everybody, especially Black people, we always have been in survival mode.
Yeah.
Not really having the opportunity to say, I have true purpose and passion behind this. This is what I want to do, and I need your support, whatever that looks like. And I think we are blessed, right, to have the opportunity to do that, right? To go out and discover what it is that I have true purpose and passion for, but also have mentors and mentees and things. That I don't think that was a word that was really used back during our parents' time. Mentorship, menteeship.
Yeah.
Peer mentors. It just wasn't what was needed during that time. But now we have the ability to build those relationships and, like you said, really build that village and that network and that system that we need to be able to do the things that we want to do.
because I think also like far as what you said, family look a whole lot different back then.
Yeah.
You've seen real, in my opinion, real true family dynamic structure within the family. Like you've seen two parents, maybe two kids, and they support each other all in different ways. Well, one stayed at home, one went out to work. The children were able to go throughout school and go to college, obtain certain degrees, and feel like they were supported. But here, we coming from a lot of broken families.
Mm-hmm.
I know each one of us on here coming from single parent families.
Mm-hmm.
So that looks totally different than how a family would look in the 60s. Like if you look back, you gonna see like Leave It to Beaver, even Good Times. You seen they were struggling, but you still seen
Family dynamic.
you still seen two parents in the household.
Mm-hmm.
And even with me, I only time I really like going outside of my house, but only like I know it might sound crazy, but I took on people as father figures outside of people who were actual physical father figures in my life, was the people like Bernie Mac.
Yeah, same with me.
Yeah, I felt like Bernie Mac was like my real
like
you know what I'm saying? Like, boy, I wish Bernie Mac was my pops in my house.
Yeah.
Cause he felt so relatable. And I think spinning back that to add, like, I want to make sure I'm putting my best foot forward. So if somebody looks at us as far as like, oh yeah, I love what Quez doing. Can I model my agriculture journey after his? And you give him the shortcomings of what you got going on, so he can overcome them and take it past where you left it off. You know what I'm saying? Same with you, Kelly, because you know you're a woman in a space where it's a hot topic right now, but it's still a small amount of you all in the agriculture field.
Right.
So that look totally different. But I ain't gonna hold people too long, so we'll continue this conversation next week. But give them a little spiel, amp them up about what we got going on the first weekend in August about Invest Fest.
Yes, we keep posting about Invest Fest. We will have a booth at Invest Fest. What's the tickets are what, $250?
Yeah,
$250.
Yeah, $250.
Yeah, $250. So if you can get out to Invest Fest, we will be at the table. We're gonna have raffles, some new merch, new designs coming, and just good conversation on how to get us in the field, opportunities for youth and yourself. So, and just, spread knowledge. So I think it's gonna be a good time. This will be our first time at Invest Fest as vendors and just participants in the conference as well. So
yeah,
more info on that coming up.
Yeah, I see the stuff that they got going on. Each one of us got on, me with a hoodie and then with the hats. They will be available at Invest Fest, and you will see us there live and in person. Answers any questions, and we'll see y'all soon.
August 6th and August 7th.
See y'all there, man.